What is going on, Metaverse? I'm excited today to be joined by a very special guest, the best player in the world at Omega Royale, the tower defense Web3 game. Bamboocha is joining me today. Bamboocha, how's it going, mate?
Good, good. Hello. Nice to
Yeah,
be here.
it's really a pleasure to be able to talk to you. I've been frankly chasing you on the leaderboards for not just one but two events now, because not only did you finish atop the overall rankings for the very first event months ago, now in the play to mint iteration of Omega Royale, you're still number one, right? So clearly you've got a good handle on the game. You know, how have you gotten so knowledgeable about what's going on with tower defense and Omega in specific?
I think I've also just been pretty dedicated to the game. I mean, it's always hard to tell how much other people are actually playing because you just see the high scores, but you don't really see how much effort are they putting into it.
Mm-hmm.
In the first version, it was more of a struggle. I mean, there was, sometimes first place, sometimes also getting bumped down a bit. But ended up on first place at the end, but the call also got differently.
Mm-hmm.
With the newest version now, I'm currently pretty steady on first place, and just theory crafting a lot, crunching the numbers and optimizing things, and putting a lot of effort into it. Also grinding a bit. Also, actually, currently I'm pretty consistent in getting like scores that would get first place, or at least close to it. So it's actually not as much grinding as you might think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's I'm sharing the screen with the current status. It is impressive though, to the point that you're able to repeatedly get the best score. What I found was I've had a number of runs where I thought things were going well and I was going to get close to or maybe surpass my high score, and things just fell apart at some point there late in the day. So able to be consistently in that spot is very impressive. So
with the current version, that also just want to say, with the current version also helped a lot that there's a replay feature now. So being able to go through the replay and kind of seeing where things are going well and going bad and where things fall apart is also helping a lot to bring the scores up a bit higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So for our audience members that are joining, one of the things that we've talked about is that you have some interest in potentially expanding your reach in Omega Royale, and so one of the topics that you're evaluating is potentially offering some coaching sessions to members that may be interested. And so part of today is going to be us talking about the game, but also a chance for us to really have you give me some feedback to see where is it that I can improve. I would say that I've been able to consistently be in the 50 to 30 range. I got as high as I think it was 23 or so when I got my current high score. It's fallen a little bit in the days since, obviously, but really doing a general eval on what I'm doing wrong, where I can improve, and then also just some, I would say, general tips, general strategy for people to think about, whether it's upgrading or placement or spell usage and so forth.
I mean, I think we can definitely get your score a lot higher, I think, because it's just a few small things that can actually make quite a big difference, but you don't necessarily yourself. So just getting important tips from someone else can make quite a big difference there.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. So maybe before we jump into the battle, what are the most important aspects that you found, in terms of the gameplay, or is it everything, every little thing matters a bit, and there's no like one or two key points?
I think one key thing that most people do wrong is merging too much, basically. Also, in the very beginning, when people play for the first time, they can just merge all the towers together, which often is a mistake. And even for more advanced players, there tend to be a lot of situations later on where people tend to merge too much instead of building out the whole board. That's usually what I'm seeing the most that people tend to do wrong.
Okay, that certainly makes sense. So for starters, then you tell me how you want to kick us off. Do you want to look at my high score replay? Do you want to just kind of jump into a battle and watch me go live? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say we can start with the replay.
Okay.
Yeah, to kind of first give you some tips based on that you can then apply afterwards.
Okay, very good. All right, and I'm going to speed it up just a little bit here because I don't think you tell me I don't think there's a reason for us to watch it on necessarily the first.
Yeah, I mean, generally in the beginning, that's fine. So basically, in the beginning, you're actually doing things pretty right, I would say. Generally, what you want to do in this map is kind of merge the 3x3, so these 9 towers on the bottom left together, because these are generally the most important spots on that particular map. So as a more general thing, you want to kind of merge your important spots together and merge things away from there to free up those spots, because you want to rely a bit on the respawn luck. So one thing here that's a bit of a problem is that you merged a lot of things away from the right side. So you have a lot of open spots on the right side and a lot of filled spots in the 3x3 grid. So one important thing here is that you have the gray mage on the top, and also the gray mage on the bottom right. I guess that one is more just kind of standing around right now. But also, if you go a bit further in the replay, because I watched it beforehand, you have a lot of gray mages pretty early on. But generally, you don't really want the gray mages until you're actually close to dying. Because basically the two things Grey Mage does is prevent enemies from escaping and keep enemies in a certain area. Kind of what you're doing with that there is you're keeping them in a certain area, which also helps you clear things very fast. But it becomes a problem later on because you put so many resources into the Grey Mage, basically. So what's more efficient generally is if you have more damage units more spread out across the field. So at this point, you already want to start building up the top right area with units. And only really have gray mages at the end, just barely enough to keep enemies from escaping.
Okay.
And here at the top right, I think you kind of just accidentally got the commanded there because the respawn just kind of turned out that way. And it's also, if it happens that way and you can't really avoid it, that's also fine. That's not horrible to have that. But that's kind of why you want to set that up earlier so that you can get the commanded at the right spot.
Should I be taking like the 3x3 here and trying to shift everything over to the right, or is it because I just have these inefficiencies built in with the sniper tower and this isn't fully optimized and these maybe don't need to be gray mages? Should I just be really focusing on getting the board layout and just let it run here more at the end, and then only very late focus on maybe throwing a few more gray mages over here just to to slow things down?
At this point, you would not really take the 3x3 apart yet. Basically what I do is I look at the replay and kind of look when are the enemies coming out that don't make it all the way to the end. And so you generally want your 3x3 intact when there are enemies coming out that do actually make it to the end. And one thing you're doing soon in the 3x3 is you're merging the middle Asia Mage. Here. I guess that was mainly to free up a spot because you wanted to respawn, but that was basically the worst merge you could have done there because the middle spot is actually the most efficient one. So if anything, you would want to merge the other way around, but generally, if you want that respawn, you should merge the things to the top right. So I guess in that case, the only option would have been one of the commandants.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So from a spell usage standpoint, I mean, I feel like it's not super complex with the snipe and the frostbite. Generally, I'm using the snipes on all the early bosses until that last one, and then I'm spamming frostbite. I mean, and to your point,
Yeah.
you mentioned trying to maybe time it so that I've got more of my towers in usage firing and killing some of the later guys so that the frostbite isn't wasted as much. Any other thoughts on spell usage timing or anything that I should be focusing on?
I mean, with snipe, you just use it as early as possible. When the boss is coming out, just 2 times on the boss. I mean, that's pretty simple. And yeah, with the frostbite, you just want to kind of look at the numbers to not kill too many enemies about to die anyway. But also make sure that your gray mages are kind of hitting the important targets. Yeah, I think that's okay. So you have the command, and so you can merge.
Okay. Good. He's here. So I would take.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter which one, I think.
Yeah. Grab one of them and move them out here.
Yeah, and then the other 2 gray mages you can merge together in the 3x3 and re-roll it there. Okay. Yeah, and then the sniper, you also want to move out of the 3x3 because it's not on the position where you want it. And yeah, then you can re-roll the gray mage at the top because generally early on I would just re-roll all the gray mages basically. So yeah, that and
that's good.
Yeah, okay, that's a good spawn. Yeah, and then you just wait for now. Well, yeah, okay, your rewards are actually still pretty full. So you can also reward that sniper, because I don't really need that many.
So,
and the other, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the poison is probably fine to just reroll in. As a gray mage, I mean, it's fine to reroll in there. So yeah, one thing to keep in mind is that Azure Mage is banned, Plague Doctor, the Poison Tower is banned, Mana Rain is banned, and Frostbite is banned on that map. So basically, it's only area damage towers left, aside from Archer and Sniper, I guess. So yeah, I think it's pretty much guaranteed that it has to be some kind of AoE damage strategy.
Okay.
That is gonna have to work.
We got a lot of single tower spots. So, like, I mean, is Commandant going to be useful here at all, or like just?
Oh yeah, actually they changed it a bit. That right sniper spot I think is new. I believe that was not on first screenshot. Yeah, so there's definitely a good commandant spot there in the empty spots between the 2 snipers, and maybe even the top left corner as well. So I think that's probably still going to be useful.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe Glacier, the slow tower, is probably going to be useful. Early on, just to kind of stack things up a bit.
Which tower? I'm sorry.
As a slow tower.
Oh yeah, the frost guys. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because yeah, I think it's just essential for some kind of area damage.
So Bamboocha, really appreciate your time today. I definitely feel like I learned a lot, whether it was positioning, upgrading, frankly, some patience that I needed, as well as spell usage. Really a helpful session for me. So for any of our audience members that are interested in learning some of the things that they're doing wrong and can really improve at to pump their score, definitely reach out and touch base with him. So looking forward to continuing to see you grow and push the final scoreboard higher over the next month.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I'm actually getting pretty close to the limit with the final score, but I mean, with the new map, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to get first place there as well.
Absolutely. Very good. Well, thank you for your help, and we'll see you in Omega Royale.